Good morning, children. In this session, we are going to discuss about the continuation of the last session, and I felt few concept that is not clear enough. So now I am going to discuss the same thing for a few seconds, and then we'll move to the new concept. So that is the do you know fact. So this is the fact which I felt this is not clear that much. So again, I am giving some glance of uh, revision about this 4 5 lines. So in their 1949, 26th November, Indian government got adapted or started or created using a constitutional system and constitutional processes. So this thing was came into force on January 26, 1950. So that's why every year on January 26, 1950 onwards, we are celebrating Republic, and on that day onwards, India became a republic. That's why we are celebrating January 26th Republic Day because of on 26th November we adopted or we started following a separate constitution for India free from British rule. So that came into force on 26th January. So from this year onwards or on this day onwards, India became a republic and we started using a or following or celebrating a Republic Day on January 26th. So in the last session, we ended up with what is democracy, meaning of democracy. This and all we discussed in the last session. Now I am going to continue about the definition of democracy, salient features of democracy in India. India became democratic, and after becoming a democratic nation, how the first elections held, and that and all we are going to discuss in this session. And if time is there, we'll go with the entire concepts up to the end of this lesson. So I try to teach only the definition of democracy, salient features of democracy, and how democracy got evolved in the different nations. That and all we're going to discuss in this slide. So we move to the definition of democracy. Definition of democracy was given by two different world famous leaders. So these are their point of view about what is democracy, and they are defining from their point of view what is democracy. So the world famous two leaders, Mahatma Gandhi and President of USA, Abraham Lincoln, these two famous leaders, from their point of view, they are defining the what is democracy. So first we go with Mahatma Gandhi. According to Mahatma Gandhi, the true democracy cannot be worked by 20 men sitting at the center. It has to be worked from below by the people of every village. So what is trying to convey means the true democracy or the genuine democracy cannot be worked having only a specific or a group of 20 persons sitting at a room or a center. There is not democracy. What is telling means democracy means so the government or system has to sit and work with the peoples of rural areas of each and every village. Then only it is a pakka democracy or it's a genuine democracy. This is how the Mahatma Gandhi says about what is democracy. So now I am moving to the next definition or next view of definition of democracy given by Abraham Lincoln. So this is the answer for question number 1 and 4th block. So from Abraham Lincoln's point of view, he is one of the presidents of USA. He defines democracy as a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Like that he says. That means democracy is nothing but everything is for the people, by the people, for them. The entire and complete thing what the government govern, whoever is governing or who is maintaining the political administrative works in a nation, that entire system has to be worked for the welfare of the and betterment of the people. That is known as democracy. Like that, Abraham Lincoln says and conveys to the entire world. These are the two different views of democracy and definition given by two famous leaders and presidents, USA of Abraham Lincoln and Mahatma Gandhi of India. Now we are going to see the salient features of democracy. Salient features means the nature, the characteristics of democracy, how the democracy will be there and how it will function and how it will work. That is a feature or nature of democracy that now we are going to see. Elected representatives of people and the final decision making power to the representatives. That means the first and very first feature of democracy is elected representatives of people. Representatives elected on behalf of people. So the representatives elected by the people, they can make decisions on behalf of the entire people of a nation, and that is being binded or that is the final decision. That is the feature of democracy. That means in a nation, in a democratic nation, people elect or choose a representative for them to govern or administer or take care of a particular nation. The elected representatives will have decision making powers on their own. So that decision will be the final that will bind on to the each and every individual or each and every citizen of a nation. So the elected representatives will decide on behalf of the people of nation. That is a feature of democracy. Next feature is fair and free election. The second feature of democracy is free and fair election. So election process or election system has to be done on a free basis and a fair. So election should be conducted on a free without charging any fees for the voting processes, and that election system has to be conducted on a fair and genuine basis by the Election Commission of India, which is the autonomous body functioning under the central government. So, Election Commission of India must conduct the election genuinely and fairly and freely without charging any single paise from the citizens of a particular nation. So, that is the second feature of democracy. Third feature of democracy is universal adult franchise with each vote having a equal value. So, universal adult franchise means each and every citizen who is attaining the age of 18 years or above the 18 years can have a political equality and equal rights to vote in the election process. That is known as universal adult franchise. The last and final salient feature of democracy is fundamental rights and protection of individual freedom. So, last feature of democracy is democratic nation or democracy has to protect and safeguard the individual's freedom and liberty, and also should safeguard the fundamental rights and fundamentals of a citizen. That is the last and important final feature of democracy. So now we move to the new concept, that is evolution of democracy. The next concept is evolution of democracy. Evolution means how it came into the practice, that is known as evolution. How it started or how it began. The concept of democracy, how it began, when it began, that is the evolution. How it started, where it started, that is known as evolution of democracy. Democracy began 2500 years ago in some of the city-states of ancient Greece. The concept of democracy, which is being followed or evolved 2500 years ago in city and states of ancient Greece. So that means democracy has been started or it came into existence around 2500 years ago. That too in the ancient Greece city and states. So it is important to know that democratic institutions existed in India as early as the Vedic period. So that was evolution in world. So the concept of a democratic institution or democracy idea, democratic institution or democratic idea that came into prevalence or that existed in Vedic period itself, the concept of democratic institution and democracy has been little bit evolved during the Vedic period. Vedic period. Chanakya's Arthashastra tells us that in ancient India, an autonomous village community was the basic unit of the local government. So, as per and according to the books or record or documents written by the Chanakya, the book written by Chanakya or a document given by Chanakya, that is Arthashastra, which gives or which tells that ancient India there is a village community, that's a autonomous village community. That means a separate autonomous or a separate village which they had a practice of local self-government. Local self-government is a they are having a system of electing a representatives, that is known as local government or autonomous village community. From there itself, the concept of a democratic institution and democracy evolved and began in ancient India. So this is about the in the entire world or universe when the concept of democracy evolved. So this is about when in India the concept of or where when during which period the concept of our democratic institution and democracy existed. So this is about Indian when the democracy started or evolved. So this is about the worldwide, and this is coming to the southern part of India in Tamil Nadu. So in ancient Tamil Nadu, Kudavole system, remember this important word, this will come as a 1 mark in book backs. Kudavole system was a very notable and unique feature of the village administration of Cholas. So during the ancient rulers or ancient administrative system, so in the Chola dynasty or Chola period, they had the system of or a feature of the practice of village administration by the local peoples and local communities. So in that system, they elect or they represent the people through the ancient system of election process in the Chola's administration or Chola dynasty, that is known as Kudavole system. So they will keep a pot and in that they will put stones on different colors for representing or electing a different persons for governing or administering a village, that is known as Kudavole system. The evolution towards a democracy is represented by the following values. The concept of democracy evolved with the ideas of freedom, equality, liberty, accountability, transparency, and trust. So these are the different aspects about the values of a democracy With keeping this in mind, these things and these ideas, freedom, equality, liberty, accountability, transparency, and trust, people want and they evolved or they started the concept of democratic institutions and democracy in India and the entire world. So this is the democracy system or how in Athens, in Greece, they practice the democratic system and election processes. The two during the 5th century BC. So this is the Greece Parliament. Look this. So this is like almost a modern day parliament. In that time or 5th century itself, they had the practice of Greece peoples. They had the practice of getting a majority people's decisions and opinions. They had decided some ideas and concepts that is known as democracy that they introduced and evolved in Greece. So this is how they conduct election processes. In a ballot box, they will keep a box. They have to fold and write a piece of representative or leader whom you want to choose, and they will put into this box that is known as ballot box system that they introduced during the 5th century BC itself in Athens in Greece. So now we'll move to the what are the different types of democracy in the world and in the country we are practicing. So in democracy we have two different types of democracy. We have that is direct democracy and representative democracy or indirect democracy. So you can see this map and or you can see this concept also. You can easily understand. We have two different types of democracy. That is direct democracy and representative democracy is also called as indirect democracy. These are the two different types or forms of democracy which is being practiced in and around the entire world. So now we will see what is direct democracy and what is indirect or representative democracy. So just for understanding where the direct democracy and representative democracy is being practiced. So for the understanding, I have given this image picture. So just have a look into this. So in the direct democracy, all citizens participate, no representatives, citizens vote on issues. So in the direct democracy, all the citizens will take part in the election processes. Example, ancient Athens. No representative citizens vote on issues. So that means the direct democracy means all citizens, each and every citizen in a nation, example ancient Athens, there they will participate in the common issues and general issues and they will sit and discuss with the specific things and scenarios that is known as direct democracy and no representatives or no leaders will be involved on these issues or they will not decide what the plan is going to be decided or finalized. So all the cities only will have the power to decide what should be done, what should not be done. That is known as direct democracy. That is being practiced in ancient Athens, that is in Greece. So representative or indirect democracies, all citizens participate. People elect representatives who vote on the issues. Representatives answer to the people and usually must follow a constitution. So indirect or representative democracy means all citizens will involve in the participate in the election systems and they will take part in the discussion of the any common issues and also the elected representatives and elected leaders will also who will vote on the issues through the majority systems or ballot systems. Um, So in the representative or indirect democracy, people will take part in the issues and they will interfere in the issues of decision making, and elected representatives will vote on the issues. Second one. The third one is representatives answer to the people. So in this what happened, the elected representatives will be answerable and questionable by the citizens of that democratic nation. Example, USA. So in any issues, citizens will take part and discuss about the what is the issue, and they will make a final decision along with the elected representatives like president and other state MPs and other elected bodies or elected representatives will also they will vote on the issues, and they will create a majority and they will decide as a final amendment or final decision on a matter or issue what they are discussing. And next one is representatives elected by the people. They are answerable and questionable by the each and every citizens. And also they will strictly follow the constitutional process and constitutional systems. That is known as indirect or representative democracy. So now we move to the next concept. So this I explained already what is direct democracy and what is indirect democracy. The people themselves directly express their will on public affairs. The type of government is called pure and direct democracy. So this is the answer for question number 3 in fourth block. So this is the answer for question number 3 in fourth block, from direct democracy to the USA and UK. So up to here, this is the answer for question number 3, fourth block. So direct democracy means people or each and every citizens will directly express their ideas and suggestions to the public affairs and issues. That is known as direct democracy. Indirect democracy or representative democracy is people express their ideas and suggestions on public affairs through their elected representatives. That is known as indirect or representative democracy. This type of democratic system is prevails in India, USA, and UK. So now we move to the next concept: merits and demerits of democracy. So merits means advantages, demerits means disadvantages of democracy. So in this slide we are going to see about the advantages and disadvantages of democracy. Merits are advantages of democracies. So the responsible and accountable government. So democratic form of government is formed means the elected representatives will be, they are have to be more responsible and they have to answerable to the government and the citizens of that nation. So the democratic form of government will give equality and fraternity. Fraternity means brotherhoodness or friendshipness to neighbors and other members of the entire country and the entire state. Third merit is, so in the democratic nation, citizens will have a responsibility. So they should be responsible towards their fundamental duties in a democratic nation, and they are accountable. Both the elected representatives and the citizens of the nations are accountable and answerable to the entire government and the entire democracy. So in a democratic country, people will have, or citizens will have a equality and they will have a friendship with each and everyone. That is the next merit of the democratic system. Third merit is sense of responsibility among common people. Sense of responsibility among common people means each and every individual citizen should have a responsibility of safeguarding or protecting or following the fundamental duties and rights of the democratic constitution. So they have to respond and they have to respond to the government through directly or indirectly the democratic form of government and the nation. So in a democratic government or democracy, the nation will have a local self-government to safeguard and protect the lower levels of equality, their welfareness, that and all they will make ensure through the local self-government systems or local democracy. Fourth merit is development and prosperity for all. So in a democratic nation or a democratic system of government, the entire nation of each and every citizen will have a more chance of or progress of growing or developing in a all together. That is the next benefit or advantage of democracy. So each and every citizen can develop and they can have a more prosperity or more peace and better life in their life. So next democratic, so next merit of democracy is popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty means democratic nation will not never come under the control of any one of the other external forces. That is the very important and significant merit of the democracy. The democratic nation will never come under, will not come under the threaten or will be forced or slave, will not become a slave or come under the external forces. No one should control the democratic nation. They themselves govern and they themselves run the government. That is known as democracy or popular sovereignty. They will not, they will have a domain status and they themselves rule the entire nation. They themselves control or they will function or they will take care of their own nation. That is known as popular sovereignty. So next merit is sense of cooperation and fraternal feeling. So in a democratic nation, each and everyone will have the mindset of cooperation, friendship, brotherhoodness, friendliness, that kind of attitude. People will live in the democratic nation and the government will also govern like that and they will develop the attitude of each and every citizens of cooperation and fraternal feelings among the each and every citizens. The next thing is demerits of democracy. When a country is following or adopting the democratic system of government or democratic form of government, these are the demerits and disadvantages the citizens or the nations will face or they will experience. Indirect or representative nature of democracy. So democratic form of government will create a more chance of indirect or no transparency in involved in the public affairs. The elected representatives will involve in the public affairs and their decisions will be binding on the each and every citizen. That is known as indirect or representative nature of democracy. The public or citizens will not involve in the public affairs. That is known as indirect or representative nature of democracy. Second demerit is lack of interest in democratic process and hence lower turnout in elections. So peoples or citizens of a democratic nation, they will not show much interest on the democratic processes and they don't involve in the democratic process and democratic system and the elections will also turn out into a lower systematic and that will not give any progress or improvement to the life of the citizens in the democratic nation. So next one is instability in governance due to the fractured mandate. So in a democratic nation, there is a more chance of instability or unbalanced governance or unbalanced or governance or political administrative process in the democratic nation due to the they fail to mandate or follow the systematic and proper rules and regulations, or what are they amending, or they are introducing the different rules and acts in a nation. That is, and also the politicians will have a switch over from one party to another political party, and also that creates a instability or imbalance in the political scenario and political system, that leads to an instability in a democratic form of government. The last demerit is delay in decision making process. So suddenly if there is any decisions has to be decided, means the democratic nation or representative leaders will, they go on, they will decide, they will take long time. So for example, China planning to attack India in the borders of Jammu and Kashmir. So they are taking decision. They are not decision to stop or invasion of India, sorry, China towards India. So they will discuss the delay in decision making to stop the foreign invasion or interference in the borders of Indian nation or in a democratic nation. So any decisions they are, they were going to take, it take a time. So the decision which they are going to take will take more time and it will be delayed. So that is the last and final demerit of democratic nation and democratic form of government. In this we will end this session, and remaining things we will see in the next session. Thank you.